Well, good morning. This is Jim and Deb.
Good morning,
Ain't it great?
afternoon, actually.
Afternoon. But we're doing something today. We're putting epoxy on our countertops. So here's the countertops for the stove. I don't know exactly how well you're going to be able to see them, but we put them on a table, leveled the table up first, put them on a table, because this epoxy is supposed to be you're supposed to have your countertop level, and I don't have my levelers for my bus yet. But these are the countertops that will go beside the stove. And on each side of the stove, that's how much countertop we have. And then this is the countertop. Whoops, got a bug in it. Look at there. It's a grasshopper. I have to get that heat deal over here. Okay, here's the countertop for the kitchen sink. Now it has some glitter in it. I'm not sure that you can, if it will focus on that or not, but it has some glitter in it. And so this epoxy top, and the sink sits right there, of course.
Whitewash the wood.
Yeah, tell them, baby. Here.
Yeah, well, we had a hard time deciding on the stain color because all the stains that we bought, we didn't really like the color of them. So what we did is a whitewash on the wood, and then we put sprinkled a little glitter on it, and the clear epoxy on it. And, where that grasshopper is may make a little bit of a looks like good. Maybe pretty good. We may have to put another coat on it anyway. Yeah. It will straighten out.
So it takes a long time. It takes, what, 72 hours for it to set up completely?
Completely set up, yeah.
I figure by tomorrow morning I'll be able to put them back
Probably
in the bus.
Can't even really see the little glitter in there, but I think it looks really pretty, so. Here you go.
Awesome. Thank you, baby. I tell you, it's nice to have your help.
Thank you.
You are so wonderful. Give me that sparkle. Oh, that's that Debbie Sparkle. Well, good morning, good morning. Got a few things going on here, a few changes in the bus. Let's take a look right quick. Okay, let's go back here to the back. I think I already showed you the back, but I'm not sure I showed you the bedroom after we finished painting it completely. But this will give you an idea, maybe, of how it turned out. And I really like the ceiling once we finished it, so I am going to continue this this method of putting up the ceiling. It's much easier than trying to hold a full sheet up there, so I'm just going to continue all the way through. Part of it I may paint, and part of it I may use just a natural finish. So take a look here. This is the bathroom area. I think this has already been established. This is our tub and shower area. I'm going to leave that till later. I have put up a door, I think, that wasn't in here before. I'm going to move on through here. That's the closet. This is the bathroom right back here behind the door. The stool portion. And then here's a new wall that we put in the kitchen area. This will have that pull-out pantry that we talked about will be here. And let's see, what else do we have? Well, we put up a little bit of paneling for the wall. We've insulated a little further. You can see there's insulation up to here. And we've got a couple cabinets built. And I told you I'd show you how I do layout, so I will do that in a few minutes. I did one already, and I wasn't pleased because it took me so long. It was made a really long video. So I'm going to try to very briefly show how I do layout. And we do have the tops done for these. And they actually turned out pretty good. They're a little glossier than what we want. It's that we use that two-part epoxy for countertops. And we did put some, see if we can get some focus here. We did put some glitter in it. So you can see that there's some colored glitter in that countertop. Now, we're not pleased with the fact that it is so glossy. So probably what I'm going, you can see how much gloss there is. I'm going to sand it down, and then I'm going to spray it with a finish that is not quite so, here I got one of them here, that's not quite so glossy. It still has all the epoxy on there, so it's very well protected, but you can see I've already sanded this and there's no gloss on it at all. It's very dull right now, but I'm going to spray it with a semi-gloss, or more likely an eggshell, as far as sheen, to get that sheen down so it's not so bright. We could use it just like this if we choose, and Debbie will decide what she wants me to do on it. But that is our countertop for this cabinet, and I'm pretty pleased at how it turned out. So there you have it. So this is where the stove goes. It's 30 inches. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a layout for the upper, and I'll do that right now. Okay, now our goal is to have a cut sheet, and I'm using a piece of plywood this time, but usually I use like cardstock or something with a clipboard. But we want a cut sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a cut sheet right now. I've already made one on this 2x4. This is a carpenter's notepad right here. So what I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to show you how I do layout sticks for cabinets. And I'm going to try to be real quick about it. But what we want is we want a cut sheet when we're finished laying out, and we need a stick to be able to verify that all of our cuts and measurements are accurate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put, this is going to be upper sink. Okay. Upper sink I write on there. I guess you can see that. And there's several things that I know that are standard, so I'm just going to put that on there. On your uppers, you don't have any bulkhead, well, you don't have any bases and toe kicks, but you do have bulkheads. So on the bulkheads, typically they're 33 inches. In this bus, I'm going to make them 33 inches. Okay? So I just put BLK. Let me erase that. Okay. I just put BLK. And then I'm going to put, I have 4 of them, and there'll be 4 of them that are 36. So the measurement that I put in first is my standard measurement, which is 11 and a quarter on your uppers by 36. Now typically they're 33, but I'm going to do them 36 for the bus because of that curved top up there. Okay, those are going to be finished bulkheads, so I'm going to put white pine, okay, instead of a different type of plywood or particle board or anything else. It'll be white pine, and I need 4 of those. Okay, so I've got 4 of them. Actually, for me, it makes more sense. Whoops, sorry about that. For me, it makes more sense if I do the how many first and then the WP. That tells my material. Okay, white pine. Next thing I want to do, these are standards, is the next thing I want to do is I want to do shelves. Because the shelves vary in size. Now my shelves, the way I get these measurements, because I do have to have measurements on these, is I already have a layout stick made. The bulkhead for the upper will be exactly above the bulkhead on the lower. The reason is on this particular one is this is where the stove sits. So we have to have the exact measurements, 30 inches. We have to have 30 inches between the two cabinets. So I have a layout stick made. That layout stick will include, let's see, I've got a layout stick. Do I have more than one? Here's the upper. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, because of this corner, I'm doing something a little strange, so I'm not going to talk about that, but this is our first face frame. It goes up and down, and that's called a stile. And this is the second face frame. It goes up and down. It's called a stile. It'll be shorter, though, than the end ones. This is a stile. It'll be very short. This is a stile, and again, that's the up and down. It will be the same as the second one over there. And then here's the one on the end. And of course it'll be 36, the same as our bulkhead on that end and on the far end. Now the two centerpieces will not be 36. This one here will not be 36 because you have whatever height you decide for your top rail. In my particular case, I'm using this piece of 3.5. I typically build them with a 2-inch top rail on the uppers. But since, again, we have this curve in this bus and it's very high up there, I thought it would look a little better if I put a little heavier rail on the top. So we have a top rail that's 3.5 inches, and then we're going to have a bottom rails, and the bottom rails will be 1.5 inches. So that's what we're going to do right now, is I'm going to transfer all these measurements to my cut sheet. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. I'll turn this up here. Okay. I've already written out the cut sheet, but I'm going to transfer it to this so it'll make a little more sense to you, okay? So, the first thing we need is the shelves. Well, the shelves, there's 4 of them that are going to be 27 3/4. Okay, so I have 4. Let me put that at the end. Sorry, haven't done this in a long time. Okay, so I have 11 1/4 inch shelves. Okay, by 27 3/4. And there's going to be 4 of those shelves. Now let me show you where I got that measurement. That measurement came from my stick. I'm going to route my bulkheads on the upright. I'm going to route them in 1/8 of an inch. The shelf goes into that, so I have to allow for that, but I got that all off of this stick right here. So usually when I'm measuring for shelves and for faces, I always burn 1 inch. Now you have to practice that, because the deal on the end, sometimes you're not as accurate as you really want to be. So I burn 1 inch, and then when I get to this top side, I have to subtract that inch. So I always just burn 1 inch, and then I can kind of wiggle a little bit, and I can tell if I ever have a doubt. So what I want is 19 1/4 is the exact measurement that I want between the 2 bulkheads. Now since I'm routing it 1/8 of an inch deep, that means it has to be 1/4 of an inch bigger. So I'm gonna make that 27. Where's it at? 27 3/4. Is that right? That's the wrong one. Okay, let's take a look here. What I actually need is 20 1/2. So I should have a shelf on here that is 20 1/2. I don't have. I have a 19 1/2. Let me check that. Actually, it's going to be 19 1/2 because I burned 1 inch and I didn't allow for it. So I have one on here, 19 1/2 inch shelf. Okay, so I'm gonna put that 19 1/2 inch shelf, and I need 4 of those, and they're going to be 11 1/4, which is the standard measurement, by 19 1/2. So that gives me my measurements for those shelves. Then I have 2 shelves here in the center. Now they're going to be pretty close to 30 inches. So we're going to take a look here. What I have, I already wrote these out to try to speed it up. 30 3/8 is actually what it comes out to on my 2 shelves. Okay, so we're going to put in 11 1/4 by 30 3/8. Whoops, where 30? Yeah, 30 3/8. Now the interesting thing is, even though really, since I'm routing 1/8 of an inch deep, it should come out exactly 30 1/4. But when I laid out my stick, because my pencil's a little fat, all that kind of stuff, it didn't come out that way. So I always go by my stick, regardless of what I'm thinking. Once I measure the stick out and mark it, I use this as my go-to. So when I measure this, if it comes out to 30 3/8, that's what I do with it. So when I build a cabinet, it's all going to work out good. Then I have the 4 bulkheads, which I've already put in there, that are 36 inches. Okay, and then I have the odd thing that I told you about a while ago down there. It's going to be 9 15/16 by 36. And that's going to be something I'm going to have to show you after I build it, to show you why I did it that way. It's a very strange thing. And so we're going to do a 9 5/16 by 36, and that's going to be a bulkhead. Okay, so I'm just going to write in here bulkhead also. Now the next thing you need cleats. So again, I measure, and I measure exactly what it is. The first one down here needs cleats, and it measures, the exact measurement would be 20 1/4. I like 19 1/4. I burned an inch. I keep forgetting. It'll be 19 1/4. Okay. So, do I have that on here? Yeah, I have 2 cleats 19 1/4. You put one on the bottom of the top shelf, and you put one on the bottom of the second shelf. And that's where your cleats go to hold your cabinet to the wall. Now, I may vary mine a little bit to make sure that I get onto these, so I may have to move my cleat a little bit to make sure I catch one of those. But you typically want it right on the bottom of your shelf. That way you can nail out on your shelf. Gives you a lot of strength for those uppers. Okay, what next? Okay, I think that's pretty much shows you how it's done. I don't want to take a whole bunch of time up, so you just do the layout sticks. Then you're going to have to put your bulkheads on there, which are standard. You're going to have to put your shelves on there. Then you need to measure and put your cleats on there, and the cleats are the things that hold it to the wall. You'll understand this more when you actually see it built. A cleat would be, I'll show you what a cleat looks like. It looks like that right there. And that's what actually holds the cabinet to the wall. It's nailed to the wall on both ends, and it's nailed to the wall through the cabinet. Next thing we have to do, that's all that cabinet is done except for the face. So the next thing we have to do is the face. So again, I go back to my stick and I measure. I know some of my standards. It's going to be, I'm going to need 4 of them, the 2 ends that are 36 inches. That's because that's the length of the bulkhead. So we need 2. I actually put it on there wrong. I need 2 stiles that are 2 by 32. Okay. Then I need 2 stiles, which are the up and down pieces, that are 2 by, and we're going to measure that right now. I have an up and down measurement. So I've already marked out on the stick an up and down upper. Okay, that's an up and down lower right there. So here's the up and down upper stove. So I can, the bottom will be 1.5 inches. That stile goes all the way to the bottom so you don't see any end grain. That's important. And then we want that stile to go all the way to the top. Well, at the top, instead of a 2 inch, I have a 3.5 inch. 1, 2, 3.5 inch top rail. Okay? So it does matter on this because it butts into the rail. So what we're going to do, 3.5 inches. Making these lines way too wide. Need a sharper pencil. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the bottom of the cabinet, which if you take a look here, this is our layout stick. Okay, it shows the bottom right there. Okay, that's 1.5 inch rail up to all the way up to the bottom of the top rail, and that's going to be 32.5 inches. But it actually measures, when I do the layout, it actually measures 32 7/16. So that's what we're going to cut it. We're going to cut it to 32 7/16. So I need 2 pieces that are 32 7/16. Okay. Better rewrite that. I ran off the side of the board there. 2 by 32 7/16. Okay. So when I cut this space all out now, these are all going to be accurate. I have all the rails. So the up and down gives you the measurements of your stiles. That's the deals that go up and down. You've got to have that because, like, when you lay out your rail for over your stove, there's a certain height that needs to be. That's determined by what type, and I'm using a microwave vent hood. So it's determined by what you're using as far as your vent hood, as far as how high you want to go up. So let's take a look. Then we have, so right now we have the faces, so we have the stiles measured, we have the rails all measured, and so I'm ready to cut. Now I know if you've never done any cabinets, this is sounding really confusing, and it's even confusing sometimes if you have done cabinets, but as I cut all these pieces, I'll bring them in here and we'll put them together, and this time I'll go ahead and film putting the cabinet together. But that's the basics on the layout of the cabinet. Now if you take a look at these cabinets of the bases of the stove cabinet, I only have 3 drawers in there. Debbie wanted big, deep drawers that she could put pots and pans. They're going to have side guides on them. They're going to be very, very large drawers. I told her they're going to be big. That's okay. That's what she wants. So you can see that we have standard size drawer on the top, and then a couple of very large drawers underneath. So only 3 drawers on each of these base cabinets. And but when it gets done, it's going to look really nice, and I'm excited about the finish that we're going to have on this. It turned out better than I thought it would, actually. The tops with that epoxy on them. So it's moving right along, and on the next video I'll go ahead and show the building of the upper cabinet. Now I want you to know I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the wonderful comments I get, and just want you to know I'm enjoying doing these videos for you. So hang in there. We're gonna get this bus knocked out in the next month or 2, okay? So hang in there and we'll get her done. Thanks. I'll see you later. If you haven't subscribed, please do that and give me a big old thumbs up. That's always nice. Thanks. Bye-bye.